Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, All Things Michkiah. Today I have another video. Today I'll be talking about my childhood. I recently had a family member who passed away, and it's just been making me very nostalgic, and thinking about the past and growing up and all that good stuff. So I decided to share some stories, or a story from my childhood, with my YouTube subscribers. So here goes. So growing up, I grew up in a farming community, very rural. I believe we were all poor, but some people will say they weren't, but I think it was basically a very poor community. So there wasn't much to see in terms of role models of who we want to grow up to be. People had really, to me, basic jobs, and the biggest career I could remember somebody in my community having was like a police officer or a teacher, and nobody in my family was that. So it was just like I never really thought about what I wanted to do in the future per se, and then whatever you saw outside of that was basically on TV. So I had this girl who lived in the community. She was what we call back home a skittle. And what skittle means is technically a hoe. But her life to me just seemed so glamorous, you know. She only spoke English, and mind you, we came from a poor, our community was poor, so everybody spoke Patois. Nobody's speaking English. No, we understood it, but our main mode of communication was Patois. And she was just so English. She had men in pretty cars come to pick her up and all that stuff, and she'd have these little gatherings at her home, and she'll just be doing the most. And I'm like, this looks glamorous, and I wanted to be a skittle. Yep, that was kind of my little aspiration as a child. It wasn't until I went to high school that I met other people from other backgrounds, because I went to, we call primary school, which is like middle school here. When I was in that school, it was in the community, so you walk to school, you walk back home. It was just the people from your community that you're really interacting with. So when I went to high school, I went outside my community in the school, because the high school, you had people from all different communities coming. So, you have a broader mix of people. So, from that and, having friends from different backgrounds, then you kind of learn there is really more to life. And it was then I started thinking about a career path, even though the career path that I thought about in high school, I didn't actually take that path. So yeah, I went through high school as the first in my family to graduate from high school, first in my family to go to college, first in my family to go to a university to pursue a bachelor's degree. But my actual turning point, when I decided, oh yeah, definitely have to do what I have to do to go to university to get a degree. My school, when I think I was in 10th or 9th grade, and my school was, I don't know, there was something happening with different schools. So we ended up taking a trip from St. Anne to Kingston, to the University of the West Indies. No, back in those days, the University of the West Indies was the school to go to. So when we got there, me and two of my friends, a girl and a guy, we veered off from the group. And I saw this hall, what you guys call dormitory here, and it was called Taylor Hall. And for some reason, I'm like, we gotta go over there. So we went over there, and for some reason they let us in, and we were talking to students who attended the university, and they were talking about what it means to be living on their own for the first time, technically adult, but your parents are still responsible for you. They spoke about beat season, which is like when it's exams, like they shut down all the parties on campus and everybody's just focused on grades and getting A's in exams, and you know, talking about college sex, piping, all that stuff. And then I don't know what it is about what they explained to me. I'm like, I have to come here and I have to live on Taylor Hall. Fast forward to a few years later, I got in and I got accepted to Taylor Hall. But when I came in, they were like, the hazing was so bad. And I'm like, I cannot do the hazing. So I gave up my spot and ended up living off campus for like a week. We paid like first and last month rent, me and a friend. And we were there for 3 days. And that man took our whole first month rent and only gave us back our deposit. And then we got rooms on the new hall that they built. We got our own rooms. We share private space. We share some common spaces. I mean, like bathrooms and kitchen area. So, I mean, that's my story about why I decided to, you know, go to college. For me, it was all about exposure, and you know, that kind of, you know, exposed me to different things and kind of, you know, broadened my knowledge about what else is out there. But the funny thing that happened when we went as a school to the University of the West Indies for that event that they were having, I can't remember what it was, but we went. We were ready to leave and we were on the dorms talking to the students. The guy that came with us, he went back to the bus and then he's like, yeah, I know where, you know, me and my friend is. He went to get us and he's like, hey, they are ready. When we got back on that bus, ooh, child. They made it seem like we went on that dorm to have sex. They made us feel so bad. When we stopped for food on our way back, we could not get off the bus. We had to stay and we had to beg somebody to buy our food so we could eat on the bus. We were basically punished. Come to find out, the next Monday morning, me and my friend, we had to apologize at the General Assembly. We had to apologize to the whole school for basically going on a dorm. It's like we broke some rule that we didn't know we were breaking, and then they embarrassed us in front of the entire school. That was so uncalled for, because I don't think they even realized that something valuable happened to me on that trip. And it's just like, it broadened my knowledge, like, yeah, this is a possibility. So I went back and I'm like, I gotta do what I gotta do, because this is the end game. This is the end game. And I eventually did it. So yeah, don't close off your mind. Open up yourself to like possibilities. Like I said, I was aspiring to be a skater. And eventually I went to college. I became a social worker. I absolutely love working with kids. I will protect them, my own and others, because I cannot be selfish when it comes to kids. Another story that is veering away from the point that I just making is, I remember last fall I took my son to like a fall festival, and there they had some, like, what's they called again? Those things with the air, those slides with the air that the kids go upon and then they slide down. My son is like an active boy. He likes doing that. And then every second he's like, Mommy, I want to go. I'm like, okay. I'm there watching him. So there was this lady. It's a pretty young girl. And she was there with, I think it was her husband or boyfriend. I don't know what it is. But the baby seemed like he's like a few months old. So there were 2 slides. And each person needs to go to a different section. So she decided that she wanted to do it with her however much months old child. So she went down the slide, and then a child went up and came down behind her. The child was supposed to go to the other side, and she came down behind her. And how that lady handled that child, I was so offended and upset that I had some words for her. I'm like, you don't treat children like that. There is absolutely nothing that baby could have done to you and your child with your big self in the way to hurt you or your child. You don't treat children like that. I'm like, where is this child's mother? Why isn't she going off? Like, I protect children at all costs. Like, they are so innocent. Like, having a child and see how innocent he looks at the world, and then us as adults, we kind of tarnish that for kids. So that's a part of my passion, like protecting children, because they are so vulnerable and people are just mean. So I guess that was the story I was telling you, that like I speak up for kids, I guess. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed my little story. I have so much of them to share with you guys of growing up, like sometimes things that were like so serious in the moment. Like growing up now, we're looking back, we are able to laugh about it, and that shows growth. So I'm gonna share these little, you know, stories from my past, and we'll see if you like them. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll continue to share more. Until next time, bye.